Sorry guys, I'm trying. What takes me so long every morning to do this is that I, it just takes me a long time to pull the actual YouTube up. Sorry, give me just a minute. I'm hitting it. There we go. I've been live for 3 whole minutes, y'all. Alright. Good morning. Hello. Hi. How are you? Welcome to Periwinkle Palace Arts. I am Princess Bun Bun, and here in my castle, my palace, we do art stuff with my bunnies. They don't do the art stuff. I do the art stuff, but they sit around and help me out. So I'm glad you're here. Or if you're watching later, I'm glad you're watching. I hope you enjoy this. Basically, every morning I wake up and I show up to my little art studio. And I just get through my day. I use art to do it. And I don't know what I'm doing here any more than the next person, I guess. But I'm here and I'm doing it. And sharing it with you guys, and if you want to see it, great. If not, click somewhere else. I don't know. I'm gonna do me the way I do me. Alright. That all explained. Let's say good morning to the Bun Buns. Hello to Maya. Maya's my friend. Maya has a problem today. I woke up at 5 o'clock this morning in the dark, and I was just holding her and loving her, and my finger found a hole. She has a big hole in her foot. So she has to go in the bunny doctor. The bunny doctor is me. I'm the stuffy sewer. I'm not great at sewing, but I can do stuffy surgery, okay? I think that she's going to be okay enough to sit on the desk today. I don't think that her little leg hole is going to cause a problem, so she's just a little embarrassed. It's okay. Yeah, I'm a little ridiculous. It's okay. It is okay for people to be a little ridiculous. Okay. I also brought Patches back to my desk today because she is the psoriasis bunny. And and whenever I have to do my nails, especially cuticle care and nail prep, she comes to the desk with me. We'll talk about that in a minute. Because I have psoriasis. It's pretty bad. And I have to do my nails to maintain it. Good morning. Good morning. This is Patches. If I didn't say her name, good morning, Patches. To the bunny cup holder. And we also have my friend Polly today. Polly is the bipolar bunny. And I'm having a little bit of a depression cycle right now. So I thought I would bring Polly to the desk with me. He's sweet. He looks like he's discombobulated. And he is. But I love him. He has these pretty stars in his ears. The symbol. And I like his feet. His feet have happy face and smiley face on it. So do his arm paws. Arm paws? I don't know. Thanks for coming to the desk with me today. Okay. Next thing we need is bunny ears. I'm gonna rock them for a little while today. Just because I want to, even though I've been getting these really bad headaches. They're not migraines, something else. Okay, so what are we doing today? Yesterday, I managed to do most, if not all, of the cleanup on this hand. Yes, there's a few nicks. Well, they look like nicks. They're really not. They're they're psoriasis spots that kind of busted open while I'm filing. It happens all the time. It doesn't really hurt that much. And my nails look quite red. I know. They look super red because they're sensitive. Sorry, my mouth is super dry. Super dry. It's not a superpower, I promise. But yeah, they're pretty red. It looks like I've given myself a really good case of the ring of fire, which is when you file your nails, your cuticles, and it burns them or takes too much skin off. But that is not the case. Sometimes I do nick myself, but I didn't yesterday. So yeah, I cleaned them really good. Put some triple antibiotic ointment on them before I went to sleep, and we moisturized them really well. So today I'm gonna finish up that little bit of cleanup, and we're gonna do gel overlays on this hand. This hand has I still have to do all the work on this hand, but this hand actually has edges on the nails on each finger. I'm not gonna mess with them today unless I get the overlays done on this hand. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But these nails need to be protected pretty soon compared to these. So we're gonna do this hand, the overlays. Yesterday, I used this, but I forgot that I had something that I want to try out. That's a piece of gray felt that just helps on the background. But I bought this a little while back. It's from Maniology, and it is the Maniology Lotus Matte. It's made of silicone. I haven't even looked at it. How pretty is that? I think it's acetone proof or acetone resistant, I'm not sure. But it's very non-slip. It's supposed to be easy to clean. And look at that, it fits perfectly on my glass. Wonderful. That's cute, right? Can you see my hands well on it though? How does it do on camera? I just don't want it to pull the focus. All right. So the first thing I'm gonna do is take a deep breath. My nerves are all over the place this morning. The other day we had a new air conditioner put in our house, and this morning they came over and they were like, we installed the wrong unit outside. I don't know how one does that. There were so many of them out there, and they spent hours installing it, right? So how did they not figure it out? I don't know. But they came and replaced it this morning, swapped it out. It's annoying that they were here so early in the morning, but it is what it is. We kind of have to schedule things for whenever my husband can be here, because I don't talk to people. He handles all that. If somebody needs to be talked to, I don't do it. I talk to my kids, I talk to him, I talk to my friend and my boyfriend, and that's about it. And yet here I am, publicly online. Okay. Ow. I listen to music all day. As I'm sure you know, there's copyright stuff. So I can't put the music I'm actually listening to in the video. But if you look right there on the screen, go up, Chris. Go up. Right there is just a little album title and such, and the album artwork for what I'm listening to. It changes and updates. So when you see me jamming out, you'll know what I'm jamming to, I guess. The first thing we need to do this morning is clean my fingers. I already washed my hands. I just use a little piece of paper towel. It's very important when you start to put products on your nails that they're very clean, like squeaky clean. This should be immune to my 91% acetone as well. So I'm just really kind of scrubbing this gently, but I'm really rubbing it on the nail bed. The nail bed, the nail itself, I'm not sure what you would call it. I do know the word somewhere in my brain, but it's not here right now. Okay, so now that they're clean and dry, they're drying, you can see that they look kind of mattified. And that's good. There's little spots that you can see, like right there. It's a little shiny. Where else? There's one right here, a little shiny spot. You see that? I need to adjust these lights, I think. A little shiny spot right here. A little shiny spot right there. And it looks like the pinky nail is good. So real quick, you can do this with a lot of different things, but I'm just gonna grab my little mini mandrel with a purple arbor band on it. That's from Melody Susie. I charged this last night. It took forever to charge, but it also lasts forever. So I'm just gonna turn that on 1000 RPMs and barely touch it to the shiny spot on my nails. And it's just gonna take that off real quick. There it goes. Yeah. And I'm really just trying to only touch the shiny spot. Anything shiny on your nail is going to prevent full adhesion. And most of the time, these little shiny spots, they're just leftover gel. So you don't want any gel product on when you start. You want to get it all off of there. And that's it. Turn that off. I'm gonna wipe these again. There's a couple of little pieces of cuticle sticking out on my nails that I want to try and grab. I'm gonna use my little nipper here to just try and remove them. if I can. Sometimes it's a little bit difficult to get them, and if it's too difficult, I'll just leave it. My hands are shaking a lot this morning. Normally I don't do nails this early in the morning. Normally I color, but I really wanted to get this started, so I may have to pause this and color a little bit with you guys because my hands are shaking super bad. Got a little piece right here that I'm trying to get to. It's really close to one of those psoriasis spots though, so I'm not sure I can get it. I'd rather go at it multiple times than go too close and accidentally hurt myself. I got it. Look at that. Let me grab a little pair of tweezers to grab the piece and pull it. It's very small. It's barely attached. Come on. Okay, it's still pretty attached. I'll get it. Never fear. There we go. Yay. I don't see anything else that I really need to worry about. I try not to be too perfect. That doesn't go there. It goes on here. Wipe that on the alcohol. Now, the next thing we're going to do is apply this. I'm going to do this one nail at a time because it just works out better for me, and keeps me from messing up the nails as I do each one. I'm going to be using these nail forms. I've tried a lot of nail forms in my life. These so far are my favorite. Mostly because it's kind of straight up here at the front. Let me pop this out. It's pretty straight at the front. And they have these big, huge wings that help me attach them a lot easier. I used to hate using forms. I still kind of do, but when my nails are this short on the front free edge, this is what I gotta do. So I'm gonna start with the shortest one. Yes, I'm gonna start with the one that's the hardest first thing in the morning, but it's gonna be the hardest, so I might as well take my time on it. The shorter they are, the harder they are to fit a form on. But before we do that, I'm gonna wipe it with rubbing alcohol again, just to remove any dust that might have been left from what I just filed. And that's 91% alcohol. It's pretty strong. This is the ASP Prep and Clean Dehydrant. I've been using this for many, many years. And I just apply a little touch like that. Just kind of get it all over. And I do try to get this product on my cuticle as well, because I really want it to be super dry. The drier it is, the better it's going to be. I used this right here last night before I went to bed as well. Can you see that? Formula X brightening treatment. I don't even think they sell this anymore. It helps a little bit to remove the yellowing that I get uh, from the nail beds discoloring themselves due to psoriasis. That's the end of it. That's what's going on. Okay. It brightens the nail bed. My nails get yellow, not because of nail polish and not because I have an infection. It's just what happens when you have nails that are severely affected by psoriasis. Okay, that's good and dry. Broke that open. It's possible I might have to throw one away. You never know. I like to bend these back like so. I can't get that underneath my nail, so I'm trying to get it as close to the nail bed as possible. Sometimes I have to do this a couple of times before it works out. I want to point out again, I did yesterday, but let me do it again, that I am not a professional. I'm not a professional at anything I do. I'm self-taught. While I could probably pay to have my nails done nowadays, I don't for two reasons. One, I used to be really poor. And I learned how to do this when I didn't have the money to get my nails done weekly. Additionally, three reasons. Additionally, my nails need to be done every day sometimes when I'm having a flare-up. And I don't mean fully doing them, but I do mean I have to take care of my cuticles constantly and the skin around my fingernail. So, I couldn't go to the salon every single day, so I had to learn how to take care of that at home anyway. And also, a lot of people in the nail industry will look at my nails and be like, you have a fungal infection. I do not have a fungal infection. I even had my personal doctor pull off my toenails, my big toes, and what do you call it? Your pointer toe? The second little piggies. Both of those toenails. She pulled them off. She pulled them off twice. They were severely ingrown and they got infected. And so she removed them and I had to let them completely regrow out, which took forever. And I had to put this cream on it 3 times a day because she swore up and down I had a fungal infection. When they grow back, they're still looking lumpy and stuff, right? So I go back to her and I'm like, well, they're not infected, but you know, she was like, you didn't do what I told you to do. Otherwise they wouldn't still look like this. They're still infected. And she pulled them off again. And when I say pull them off, I mean, she numbed my foot up with lidocaine until it looked like my toenail was going to explode. And you can still feel it when they lift your toenail up off the bed and pull it out. It really hurts. It's not something I'd ever want to go through again, and I understand why torture sometimes involves that. Okay, I've got this form on. It feels pretty solid. It's real important for me that I get it as close underneath the edge as possible. There's really no edge there, but it does have a little bit of overlap. More importantly is that it rounds around my finger correctly. So if you look down, you can see it's not completely pushed together here. It's rounded like that. And then I keep my finger straight to do this. I've heard people say that you're not supposed to push this down, you're supposed to stick it together. but I push it down and fold it over each other so that I don't forget to not bend my finger. And then I do something strange. I don't know if other people do this, but I do, because I'll constantly be trying to put my finger, although that might help me actually. Usually I cut these off right here so I can put my, but if I put it like that, maybe, if I'm gonna try leaving it on. Usually I cut the little wings off. I'm gonna try leaving them on, because sometimes when I'm painting my nails or doing my nails, I forget and I'll be putting them like this. Maybe I can remind myself to keep it right here so you can see it. Okay. I keep these little tabs right here from the middle because sometimes, and I might have to do this on another nail, who knows, sometimes I have to peel them off and put them right here underneath the tab to create an even better edge. It just depends on what my nail is doing. All right, so we've applied the Prep and Clean and we're ready to go. I'm gonna use IBD Power Bond Gel Bonder. This is not an acid or non-acid primer. I can't put primer on my nails. It will etch them, and my nails are too thin to handle that. So we don't do that. I use this IBD Power Bond. It works great. Let me rephrase that. It works great for gel overlays. And this, you don't want a lot. And you want to keep it to the actual nail. But you want to do like this. You want to kind of rub it on the nail. Because you leave the nail bed somewhat matte. And what that does is it leaves texture for this Power Bond to get into without having to use a primer. A primer will etch a little roughness into the nail bed. I don't want it to do that. It's already rough enough for me. And then using this Power Bond is just great. And you rub it on there, a little back and forth action to get it into those grooves. And then we let it sit and dry for a few seconds. I wonder, what are you guys doing this weekend? I'm not doing anything, I don't think. I'm just being home. I don't know, this week's been a little bit draining, so. So, you can tell that this is dry when it gets really shiny. See how shiny it is? Once it's shiny, it's pretty much dry. Now, I have these 3 out. I use IBD Builder Gel. I use a lot of other things to do it too, but this is my favorite thing right now. I have Sheer Pink, Cover Pink, and Soft White. I thought about using the Soft White so you guys could see really good, but there's situations where the Soft White just doesn't work out very well. So I think we're gonna go with Sheer Pink. It gives the most natural look. Let me go ahead and turn on my nail lamp. I might have to get up and plug it in. No, it looks good. It's cordless, so it charges up and you can move it around. I love this nail lamp. So for the builder gel, you really want a thin layer. I'm not kidding about that. Super thin layer. And I'm gonna apply this one strictly on the nail bed and just a tiny bit past it onto the paper form. I'm gonna start way back here. I'm not trying to build anything yet. I'm very carefully, with my shaky hand, I'm pushing the gel a little bit up towards the cuticle. This gel will flow by itself a little. I want to make sure that I get it everywhere there's nail and nowhere that there's not. And really, really thin. And I want to make sure as I go that this edge over here stays under the edge as much as I can. All right. Now I'm gonna pop my nail in the nail lamp for 60 seconds. And I'll sit here for a full minute. If you put too thick of a coat on, you will get a heat spike when you put it in the lamp. And there's a time and place for a thicker layer. I'll show you that. But the first layer you want to be really thin for sure. Vitamin. All right. Don't touch the nail. It's going to be sticky. Look it over. Make sure everything looks good. Make sure your form is still in place. And now we're going to add another coat. I'm going to do this one almost just as thin. For the most part, I don't worry about building an actual apex on my nail. It's not necessary for me. It's not necessarily necessary. Whatever. What's important to me is getting it protected. But I will try to put an apex on this set just to make the nail look better underneath the nail wraps. All right, now that I've got that kind of layer on there, you definitely want to keep gel off of your skin. And if you get gel on your skin, you need to take it off of your skin before you put your finger in the lamp. So I've got a little bit of extra on my nail brush, and now I'm kind of gonna like make a little bit of a bump here between the nail form edge and the free edge of my nail. I'm trying to get, there we go. Got a little blob right there on the edge on one side of the brush. So I'm going to apply that kind of directly on this line. I'm going to tilt my finger like this because I want that gel to flow back towards the nail. And then I'm going to hold it like this to let it flow back towards the paper. And this will help to ensure that the gel meets on both sides. It's okay if it looks a little bit lumpy. We'll fix that in just a second. Let's go ahead and nuke that. It's important when you put your nail in the lamp, especially if you're using paper forms, that when you put your nail in there, you don't let the form rest against the bottom of the lamp or the sides, because if you move the nail form at all, it will mess up the actual nail and cure like that, and you don't want that. And the reason I'm using a form is because I don't have enough of a nail edge on my natural nail to bring the gel forward and wrap that around the edge of my nail. All right. So it's a little bit bumpy right between the free edge, but we're looking good. No gel on the finger. Don't touch it, it's still sticky. We're gonna get a bit of a thicker amount of gel on the brush. And we're gonna start at the back and pull this straight forward. I'm bringing this down kind of thick onto the form. And you can just keep going and make it as long as you want. I don't want it that long, but it makes it easier for me to trim it and file it if I make it a little bit longer. Now I'm gonna go back through here and shape it all. Make sure I don't have any overflow on the sides. All right, I'm gonna let that flow together again. And that's the nice thing about using this builder gel. One of the things I love is that you don't have to apply it perfectly. You can kind of let it flow to where it needs to go. I'm gonna turn my finger completely upside down, so like this, and look at it, because it will also flow towards the top. That helps create an apex. All right. That looks like a great shine line. So I'm going to cure that. Honestly, the gel curing is what takes the longest to do nails when you're dealing with gel. But the upside is the ease, the quickness of drying, and I don't mess them up while I'm doing them. Like once your gel nail is done, you can move on to the next nail and you won't like smudge it or break it or accidentally hit it with something that it shouldn't have. I think that's thick enough for me to remove the form. I think, but I'm not positive. I'm gonna add a tiny bit more. But only at the front edge. And then I'm just gonna push a little bit back to make the layer a complete layer. But I bring most of the thickness forward. Okay. Turn it upside down again. And this is kind of a repetitive process. I don't mind doing this as much as I mind doing the cuticle cleanup though. Adding that little bit of extra from the center to the free edge down helped me to create that apex I was looking for. Okay, let's cure that. Sometimes the 60 seconds seems like an eternity. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I'm surprised we're doing this well on this at this early in the morning. So now I'm gonna go ahead and take the form off gently. I try not to tear them. I'm gonna squeeze right here at the base of the nail. Carefully, carefully. And just kind of squeeze it, squeeze it. I'm just peeling it off slowly. Okay, so now you can see the reason that I used the form. I didn't have a free edge that went over the tip of my skin. See, your fingernail is supposed to protect the skin on the end of your finger. That's what it grows there for. Well, when you don't have that, you definitely don't want to cure gel on the edge of your finger. This took me a while to figure out. So now I have that edge right there. And as it grows out, as my actual fingernail grows out, I'll be able to wrap the gel along the edge of the nail to protect it on the underside too, but it's not it's not grown up enough. It's not grown out enough for me to do that right now. I could, if I wanted to, at this point, add more gel, but I'm not going to because I think that one came out pretty good. I'm not trying to create a really huge nail here. I'm just trying to create a gel shell around my nail. I want to make a shell around my nail so that the nail itself is protected. All right. So the next step is to clean the nail off. You can use cleanser. You can make your own cleanser. I've done that before. Use water, alcohol, and a little bit of acetone. But I personally like to just use this that I use for everything. Rubbing alcohol. And you're just going to wet your paper towel or your wipe. A lot of people use like lint-free wipes. I don't. I find that for some reason they seem to actually leave lint on my nail, which they're not supposed to, right? But they do. And I make sure I get underneath the edge as much as I can to clean that out. But you want to remove all of the stickiness from the nail. I know it looks crazy right now. It'll be all right. This side is a little thin, actually. I want it to be a little more thick over here. I'm going to add another touch of gel to it, just like I just said. In the end, you'd rather have too much gel than not enough. You can always finish file gel off. You always want to go over the entire nail with each layer. You want to make sure that you're connecting the layer. I'm focusing most of the gel this direction because that's where I want it, you know? I'm not as focused on the very tip as I am this side over here. All right. Make sure it kind of just levels. And put it back into cure. This is going really well. I'm surprised. Much better. And you can see that's stiff. It's not soft. It's fully cured. All right. Again, it's okay if you need to put another layer on after you clean it. That's fine. It's better if you don't wipe it until after you've done all your layers of gel, but that's only because essentially gel sticks to gel. It has this this dispersion layer, I think it's called, that's sticky. As it cures, that layer rises up out of the gel and to the top. So you need to get that sticky layer off once you're done adding the layers. And you want to make sure you get it really clean. Get it off of there. What's next? We're looking good. Okay. All right. So now, I do this a few different ways. First, I'm gonna rub my finger over it and make sure it's all good. Clean? Yeah. So, I can't find my tiny scissors. It's fine. I'll use these. It's not what they're made for, but I'm using them anyway. And I'm just gonna trim very carefully this little rough edge off here. There we go. And the rest we're gonna file. And I use a hand file for this part. And I move everything out of the way and grab my little, where'd I put it? Oh, there it is. Got it. Okay. I grabbed this little piece of felt so that the dust lands on it. All right. I'm going to file this into shape. I'm going to start by reducing the edge. We're being gentle, but honestly, I could just be crazy about it, but I'm not. I like to file them straight down like this until my file is right up against the edge of my skin without pushing in. So just resting there. As soon as my file hits my skin, that's where I stop filing. It pulls the nail to just out over my finger end, and it does what it's supposed to do, which is protect my nail. I always mess this up a little bit, so I'm gonna go careful. I have a tendency to slope my nails on accident, which means that instead of filing them straight right here, they end up going like this, and I don't like that, so I'm trying to be careful. I often get a little notch right here on my nail when I'm using a nail form. Smooth that out. All right, that looks great. I can't believe this is going so well for the first time I'm doing this on a live stream. I do it on video all the time, but not live stream. So I'm using the 180 grit side of my file. I'm gonna go at it this direction. I don't do things and hold things the way people usually do because I have hand issues and hand-eye coordination issues. I just have issues. It looks like I'm being super rough, but I'm not. You don't have the same rules when you're filing like an extension as you do when filing your natural nail. Like, you can go back and forth on gel. You shouldn't go back and forth on your natural nail, really. I do sometimes. So filing is trying to be difficult for me at the moment. Trying to make sure I can see and you can see. Let me file underneath just to make it straight. And if you can't tell that I'm not a professional, and you're not a professional either, probably, I guess. Okay, that's the sides. And this is a hard gel. It's not a soft gel. All right. I think my underside looks pretty good. The other reason I use a nail form is so that when the gel cures underneath the nail, it doesn't make a big bump under there. I hate those big bumps. Now I'm gonna file around the cuticle a little bit. Sometimes I get a bump there. And the whole point from here is to shape it and make sure it's smooth and pretty. I probably should have cut the nail with the clipper a little bit shorter to make it easier for me to do this, but I didn't. I'm sure that's shaking the table a lot. Hang on. I'm gonna go fast to cut it down, and I'm gonna do it with my hands not on the desk. I don't recommend filing like this. I don't recommend any of this. This is just what I do. My nails look good in various shapes, but I find for my particular nail issues that having a straight square shape gives it the most strength. All right, it's getting pretty short there. So now I'm going to look down the edge of it, and I want to make it straight when I look at it. I want it to look even. Oh, my hand is cramping. All right, now I'm gonna flip it over to the 240 side, and we're gonna fine tune our shape. I always do the shape around the edge of the nail before I go across the top. When we go across the top, the goal is to smooth it. And we do that so that whatever you put on your nail after that, whether it's polish or a nail wrap, or I often apply the false nails that I make, that I do a lot of nail art on. I apply those on top of my gel overlay. So basically the overlay stays on. When it's time to basically fix them, I just kind of buff them the best I can, unless I have to take it all the way off, which if I take care of them like I'm supposed to, I won't have to take it all the way off. It'll just grow out. I'll file it or cut it down and then fill the back. And so yeah, I like this grows out with my natural nail, and I can apply whatever I want on the top of them. Basically created a protection barrier. It's like putting a cast on my nails, kind of, I guess. And then I apply my art over the top. And the art I can change at will without having to take off this overlay. I can change it my whims and wills. And I've gotten pretty good at this over the years. I used to not, this used to take me like several hours for one nail, and they would look so bad. So at this point, I'm filing it smooth. Now, how do you know if you've got your nail smooth at the top? It's pretty easy, actually. Anywhere that's shiny isn't smooth yet. So once everything's matte, you've kind of got your shape pretty good. And I'm filing really lightly too. You don't need to put pressure ever. Trying to get this little edge over here. The one thing I will say is if you do your overlay and then you put like nail wrap or just polish over it, if it's not smooth, it's gonna show. Not that it matters that much, but I'm just telling you. It'll show. And then go back and forth over it like this in a rounded motion. And I look for anywhere that's lumpy. And this is the point where if you were at a salon, they would say, go wash your hands. We're not gonna do that. I'm gonna get my little nail brush. I'm gonna dust it off. Let it get really into those crevices and underneath. And then, once again, I'm gonna spray it. Rub it with rubbing alcohol. And you've got a nice matte nail now. I keep saying you. What I really mean is me, but I'm talking to myself since there's nobody here. So I'm just saying it out loud. But I mean myself. Okay. That looks pretty freaking good. So now, you could, at this point, go ahead and do your nail art over this, especially while you got this nice matte texture. We're not going to do that either. I saw a shiny spot. Hang on. There we go. That looks pretty great. Let me see if I can adjust this lamp, y'all. Does that help? A little bit? Yeah? Okay. Well, now we know. Is it perfect? Absolutely not. Do I care? Absolutely not. And I say that because I have perfectionism syndrome. I've worked very, very hard to get to a point where good enough is good enough. I like that. That looks great. So now I'm going to grab my top coat. This is the MAC Art top coat I like. And I'm going to apply a very thin layer. Very thin layer, very thin layer. And cure that. I'm going to do the same technique where I push the gel back and pull it forward. I try not to get to where I touch my cuticle at all, because then I get flooding, and flooding isn't great. Alright, I'm going to wipe off my brush a little bit more now that I've got it, the application on, and I'm going to grab and bring it down. This can be a little hard to do when my hands are this shaky, but speed is not your friend. And one thing that I love about working with gel is that it gives me the time to get things the way I want them before curing. All right, that's pretty smooth. Check my nail around the cuticle, make sure I don't have any flooding, pop it in. When it comes back out, we're going to do a second coat, and I'm going to show you how I wrap the free edge of my nail. Because now I have a free edge on my nail. It's not my natural nail, it's a gel free edge, but it's a nail. I have a nail, just one. I feel like my insides are vibrating today. There you go. That is a beautiful, shiny nail. It's so thin. I can't believe I got it that thin. Usually I get like a bulk on the bottom of the free edge that I have to like file, get rid of. Okay. Now I'm just gonna apply another quick coat. This is just to make sure in case I missed anywhere, and to give enough gel on the top of the nail at the free edge for me to do this. I take my brush, I go on the edge and just kind of follow it around with the brush. I just touched the gel. Here, let me wipe the gel off my cuticle with some rubbing alcohol, and I'll just smooth that back out. Oops. So when you're using a lacquer nail polish or product, period, you have to work more quickly. And I love me some lacquer polish, don't get me wrong. I have plenty of it. But for a person who kind of has a disability with their hands, gel can be a very forgiving product. And it also self-levels. In most cases, if you use gel, it's going to self-level. You have to be careful that it doesn't flood the cuticles, like I said. But if you just let it sit for a second, it will create a perfect nail. Tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock, tick tock. All done. At this point, if I have finished my whole hand, you would go wash your hands really well and then apply cuticle oil. But we're not done with the whole hand. So, however, that was pretty easy actually. I'm shooketh. I've gotten really good at this compared to where I started several years back. I wouldn't dare do this if I was not using gel. Coffee with the hand I just worked on. That's mocha coconut coffee. Oh, I don't know. I love it. Hot diggity, y'all. I'm really I'm feeling my skill right now. I did not expect this to go well. And to be honest, it might not go well on any other nail. But we'll see. So, next finger we're going to do is going to be this one. If it seems like I'm putting an excessive amount of rubbing alcohol on my nails, I kind of am. The reason for that is I really, really need the nails to be super dry so that I don't have any adhesion problems. I hydrate them plenty after I'm finished. And I hydrate them in between doing my nails. So like the whole time I wear them, I'm always hydrating my nails. Let me do the prep and clean. I do this before I apply the form because the prep and clean alcohol content, if it gets on the nail form on the underside is sticky, right? And it kind of dissolves the adhesive and then it won't stick to your finger. I've had that happen before. Let's pull off the middle. Sometimes it's just easier to cut this. There we go. It's pretty stiff paper, like it's not flimsy. Alright. This one might be a lot more difficult because there's really not a free edge at all here. But I really, really don't want it to point down. Sometimes when I have to do this, I will use a nail tip. But right now, I think I'm just gonna round this a tiny bit. I don't know where my tiny, tiny scissors are. It's a little bit annoying. But this works. Let's try again. It's a little better. I can work with that, I think. One of the key steps for me is to get it to where it's straight along the nail backwards. I mean, along the finger. Otherwise, it's gonna point downwards. And you don't want your nail to form downwards. That can make for difficult filing. It can be done. I'm not saying it can't, but it just makes it a little more difficult for me. So I will pull this back and tip it back a little bit more. And now we have a more straight angle. Stick that to my finger. Come to the front side. Try to get these even. That's pretty good. It should feel tight up against your skin. And fold it over. And make sure that this part is round, if you can. It's being a little difficult. It happens when you have to kind of create your own free edge. Okay, now we're going to do primer. It's all repeating the same steps. If I get quiet, it's just because there's nobody here to talk to me. But if you join, go ahead and talk, because like I'd be bored. Yep. All right. Again, you don't just apply this. You're just gonna kind of scrub it in a little bit. I like to get it on whatever of the free edge that I can and kind of get a couple of bristles to go up underneath there. And let that dry. I hope you're having a great day. And if you're enjoying this, you could go ahead and comment and let me know if you want to see more or less. Or you could hit the subscribe button, or you could like the video. You could hit the notification bell for next time I stream, so you get a notification. Right now my schedule is kind of like working out to look like I'll be streaming at least in the mornings between 8 and 11 a.m. This is an air dry product, so I'm just waiting for it all to look shiny. When it looks nice and shiny, almost like it's got a top coat on there, it's dry. Looks dry. Now we're just going to repeat our process. First thin layer. Super, super thin, remember? What I do is I pretty much wipe the entire brush clean, almost, on both sides. And I just like to have a little bit on the very tip, barely a bump. I don't use a base coat for this because I found that the base coat on my nails tends to give me lifting issues, so I don't use a base coat. Remember, the point of the very first layer is really just about coating it, making sure you've got gel everywhere you want gel. and no gel where you don't want gel. We're not forming the nail yet. We're creating a base for the other gel to stick to. Gel attracts gel. So that's what you wanted to do. Creating that sticky layer for it to stick to. So we're going to cure that for 60 seconds. If I get to do an afternoon session, I try to every day, but sometimes I'm just too tired. Going through a lot of medicine changes right now, and it's requiring me to adapt a lot of my processes and routines to a new state of existence. So this is the schedule I've got right now. Like I said, I try to be on between like 8 in the morning and 9, and then I stay here until 11 usually, because I have to get offline for lunch to do my little things that I have to do. Let my dogs out and all that stuff. All right, so I'm looking to make sure I have a little bit of a lip there. Everything looks good. So I'm gonna add a little bit of a thicker layer, but not by much. And my goal at this time is to create, excuse me, to create a base for the nail on the free edge, really. Sometimes I do these things out of order, I'll be honest. But in general, it's the same process. Tap a little gel there. I want to make sure I get my little layer right here on both sides all the way to the side. I'd rather have to file some off than not have enough. And now I'm going to push the gel back on this layer. Try to make sure that everything's kind of smooth. Sometimes if I get a lot of gel down here on the form, I'll push that gel back like that with the brush to help it form that line between the nail and the form. And we're going to let it flow a little bit forward. And holding it like this. And then I'm going to do it like this so that it flows back a little bit over the nail. And this just helps it to shape and make sure that I have a good layer on the bottom. I'm going to turn it over. Let me see how that line looks. I like it. I like it. Check to make sure there's no gel on the skin. Pop it in. 60 seconds. Here we go. If I was doing this on a video, I would definitely like cut out the curing time. But it's a stream. I can't do that. This is boring. All right, it's looking good. Technically, I could probably take the form off right now. I'm just not gonna. So now I can put on a thicker layer. Usually the third layer is the most thick layer I do. Because again, we're gonna put this down kind of right in the center. Pull it out a little. I feel like for when I'm doing my nails, I might need to zoom the camera in the overhead. I might need to zoom that in more. I also sit here and check my nail to make sure there's no dog hairs in it. You flip it over. So I put like a thick line down the center by kind of patting it, and then I just kind of like touch the sides a little bit. It makes a kind of deep apex, kind of decent apex. So I'm just holding my nail upside down like this, straight towards the floor. Wherever you want your apex to be, aim that at the floor. So I want mine to be like right above where the form attaches. If there's a lot in one area and you want it to flow somewhere else, you just point your finger that direction. And then you put it back parallel to the floor where the apex is, and the gel flows and builds up right there. If it gets too big of a bump, when you flip it back over, you can let it settle for like a couple of seconds before you nuke it. And that'll handle it. But you don't have to be perfect with this because you're gonna file it anyway. That looks good. Check for any on the skin. Nuking. Be careful when you're doing that thick layer. You can get a heat spike. If you do, just take it back out for a couple of seconds. It'll cool and then you can put it back under. I need to find something like decent to watch on TV that is not politics. I've been stuck in a politics rut lately. And news. It's so depressing, right? Oh, my jaw just popped. I'm clenching my jaw. I shouldn't be doing that. I don't do it on purpose. Alright, so now I'm going to take the form off. I'm not done with my layers, but I'm going to take this form off. And I have to be really careful when I do it, because where that notch is that I get on my nail, right here, it's usually because of the form being right there. So I try to pinch that area in a little bit first. Careful, careful. And I'll tell you this, if the gel won't come loose from the form, it means it's not cured enough. IBD gel cures at 60 seconds and a full size, like full watt lamp. It came out mostly okay. See if I got any gaps in there. I don't have any gaps. Woohoo! But I don't know if you can see it. I can see it. I have this tiny bit of the right here where it's got that split in the paper. Right there. I have a tiny bit of the form stuck underneath the tip of the nail. There's a little black dot right there. Can you see it? I'm gonna grab that out of there. We don't want that to stay. I mean, it's not gonna kill anything, but it can be a problem sometimes. If I can't get it, I'll just leave it there, but it'll aggravate me. Yeah, it's not gonna come out of there, I don't think. It's fine. We'll leave it. I don't want to cause a separation of the actual gel. It'll be fine. Okay. It'll be fine. Alright. We're going to put more gel to strengthen the free edge and make this a little bit more rounded. It's not got the greatest apex. And like I said, usually I don't worry about that, but I might as well since I'm sitting here, right? Practice. But on this coat, I'm focusing on making sure my tip is nice and strong. Let that do its little self-level trick. Check my little shine line here. Do we have any gel on the skin? Here. No clenching of the jaw. I clench my jaw so hard I break my teeth. What do you do when you have to go to the bathroom while you're on a stream? It's looking surprisingly great. Again, am I just having a lucky day? I mean, I'm not gonna look the gift horse in the mouth, but this is unusual a little bit. Usually I have to like fight my nails. I have to fight them. Alright, so this one's just to fill in any spots that aren't great, And again, to strengthen that free edge. I'm checking the side because I'm not sure it's going to be long enough for a good side. I'm going to pull this gel over it and kind of like let it attach to the edge. Sometimes it will come down and form its own little lip. You can actually see the gel as it kind of plumps up. It looks like it plumps up, and then you can see where it runs into spots that aren't quite filled. And you can see it on, I don't know what to call it. It's like the line in your eyes where it's kind of shiny there. Sometimes if it's not flowing right, you can just grab the brush and smooth that one little spot and then let it self-level again. One thing I don't recommend is letting it spend more than a few seconds leveling on this direction with your nail up, because you'll get that flooding into the cuticle. You don't want that. I've been listening to some new music this morning, but I think we're about to do a playlist swap. A playlist swap. I don't think that it's a good idea to stream for several hours without getting up to move around. I don't think it's a good idea to stream while you have to go to the bathroom or when you're out of coffee. So I think for those 3 reasons, I'll allow myself to jump up from the stream every now and again. It's just for health reasons, right? I mean, the coffee's not, but coffee's important. I kind of poked a hole where the paper is underneath the nail. I usually don't add gel under the nail. I think I'm going to this time, or try to, because that will make the nail not as strong. I'm still trying to get this piece of form out from underneath there, though. I'm being stubborn with it. It's being stubborn with me. I'm annoyed. Okay, that's the best I can do. I'm gonna add a tiny bit of gel underneath that and cure it. This is not something I usually do because touching the gel is not recommended. Having it on your skin is not recommended. But I think it's far enough away from my skin that I can get it. Let me grab this little thing right here and put some rubbing alcohol on it. I love these little things. They're not Q-tips. They're like, I think they're eyelash applicator things. But I'm going to press this up against the skin, not in the nail necessarily. But I'm just going to clean the skin right under it the best I can. And then I'm going to let the gel go where it's going to go. I'm going to turn my hand upside down to nuke that. I don't really need to. The light will get straight to it, but I'm doing it this way anyway, so that's what I'm doing. I'm doing it because I'm doing it. I don't have my entire nail supply situation out here because this isn't actually my nail station. This is actually my studio desk, but at some point I'll have different studio desks set up in different places so that I don't have to like move things around so much to film. I could just go sit where my nail stuff is and do that. There. All right. I'm going to be right back. I'm going to go potty. I'm going to put this here even though it says coffee. If you're here, you know what I'm doing. I will be right back. When I come back, I'm going to show you a trick for a little problem that I just noticed. See? It wasn't going long. I'm back. Nobody came to see me anyway. Oh, trash can just tried to dump over. Okay. I don't think on this side that the side is going to be long enough to come out to the place I need it to. I'm going to grab one of these little stickers and I'm going to stick it underneath the nail, kind of like that, and then I'm just gonna fold it. It's very not stable, but it will work for what I need. Can you see that it's not really stuck to anything? It's just sitting underneath the nail. The nail is still sticky too because we haven't cleaned it yet, which will help it stick there. I just need it to form a little connection there. And I'm gonna use a larger little blob of the gel and just plop it right here. It doesn't really matter as long as the gel connects from the nail to the paper, because we're just creating a little ledge. I'm going to stick my other fingernail up under here to help hold it in place, actually. I'm not trying to make it pretty. This is a technical fix. Let that sit there. And now I'm gonna flash cure that. I'm still holding underneath that little sticker with my finger for it to stay there. And now I can let go of it and it's gonna stick there. So I'm just gonna cure it normally now. What this is gonna do is gonna create a ledge. When I pull the paper sticker off, I'll be able to put gel there and smooth it out and everything. And then we'll just trim it when we trim it and file it. Let me grab my mouse. Oh, crossing my arms. I want to change the music. I hope this works. Sometimes it doesn't work. All right, different playlist. Yay. Okay. I don't know if you can see the gel there. It's kind of hard to see on the paper, but we're just going to very carefully peel it away. There we go. And we have a little ledge there. And now we're just going to apply some more gel. There's a level of professionalism that's required to do this kind of work in a salon. And I feel like nail techs don't get enough credit at all. I'm not trying to take anything away from them, honest to gosh. This is something that I have to do for myself. And because I'm not a professional, I've found lots of little experiments to do and found ways to fix things that I mess up. And that's one of my favorite little tricks. Oh no, not enough of a nail in one area. Grab one of those little forms, stick it under there, one of the little pieces. I mean, I could have put an entire new form on, but I didn't need to. And now I'm just gonna fill this lump in. Sometimes I'll even wipe the gel right off the edge of the brush and then just work it to where I need it to go. Pull that through. All right, now we're gonna let it self-level. Is it self-leveling if you hold your finger up to get it to do it? I wish I had a camera where I could show you the underside while it's doing this. I'll have to figure that out someday, I guess. I might have to do a final layer after I trim this one also. It's fine though. It's fine, it's fine. Everything's fine. It'll be fine. All right. Karen. Cry baby cereal. Don't blame me, just a wake up. Wait. There we go. Cereal heartbreaker. It's just the way I like to sing. You can sing with me if you want. I guess I should go and put in my descriptions a little bit more information after I film my lives, because I mean, I should add in the things that I'm using, and I'm doing a lot of shoulding at myself, right? I just think that I should put more detail in my descriptions. Let's clean this off with the rubbing alcohol. Be gentle on the side here. Make sure I get underneath there too. All right, let me get my little clipper here, and I'm just gonna snip off these ragged ends over here. I'm gonna snip it out. I'm gonna snip it further out than I think I need, just because I don't want to have to like repair that again. It can be done, I just don't want to. And really, I don't clip off a lot. I just clip off the ragged edges to make it easier to file. All right. How's that work out underneath? Oh yeah, that looks good. And this we're gonna file, but it's going to, it might look a little weird when I get there. I'm not sure. We'll find out. All right. We got our little file. I am able to use my electric drills to do this, but I prefer to do it by hand, usually. I'm gonna start on this side, right here. I am filing, I like to put my file on the flat side, right next to it, and try to keep it straight. I try to keep it straight. I'm not saying I'm successful at that. Same thing on this side. Let me flip it over. I'm very definitely trying to make sure that I don't slope the nails here. I know that shakes the table a lot, and the camera too. I'm sorry about that. One day my table will be more stable. I'm rhyming. I didn't mean to. All right. Right now I'm trying to round the top. I have a little more gel underneath the edge of the nail than I usually want, but there's a reason for that. Remember, we put some gel underneath this edge. I don't know if you can see that. This little, it's almost like a little brown spot right there at the edge of the nail. That's kind of a gap from where I was picking the piece of paper out of there. Let me see. Right now, I'm most worried about this edge over here. I need to get it, flat and see if I need to add gel to it. Because you can spot touch up gel. That's another benefit. You can't spot touch up lacquer paint. All right. You come right under the edge without sloping the nail. It looks good. All right, let's file the edge. While doing this, if this nail on this side is too weak, it will bend as I file it, and so I'll have to add more gel to it at that point. Dance. Need somebody who can meet me where you are. All right. I like to flip my hand over like this when I'm trying to get a straight edge across the front, and I look at it like this, and I look at it like this, because either way, in either direction, if it's not straight, I'm gonna notice it. It's gonna drive me crazy. See how thin this one is? That one's super thin, right? At the edge. Can you tell that that one's not? That's okay though. We can leave it like that because it's not so filled in that I can't see all the way to the quick. Like, if my skin was stuck to it, or if my skin had it to where it was over the skin edge and I couldn't get in there to file or clean out your nail. Basically, if you can't get in there to clean under your nail, that's not good. Okay, now we're gonna go like this to make sure it's super flat. Also, if I was using my nail drill to shape the gel, I would either have to have a mask on or be using a dust extractor. I don't feel like it today. Of all of the things I do when doing nail prep and doing my overlays, my favorite thing actually to do is hand file out of this process because I find it meditative and sort of soothing. It appeals to the perfectionist in me. if you want to see how I can fix that, let me grab something real quick. All right, this is my other nail drill. I don't use it very often because it shakes a lot, not vibrates, it shakes. I love this nail bit though. It's a ceramic bit and it works perfect for this very situation. I hope it's charged. Yeah. All right, so I'm just gonna go where it's thick right here and touch right in there. You're not gonna get it perfect. I'm not gonna get it perfect, you might. I'm certainly not gonna get it as thin as the other nail was. So, I didn't really fix it, honestly, but that's how I would fix it. Let me try one more time. I find a ceramic bit to be perfect for filing gel. Just a little bit better. Still not as thin as this one. That's pretty good. All right, now I'm gonna come with the 240 side. I'm gonna shape and refine this. Check for any spots that don't look great. When I say don't look great, really what I mean is functionally, that look like they might break or might not give a good finish to whatever I put on top. And sometimes I'll take it right down this way across the top. And right at the edge, I just do a little flick to round it gently. And what you can do if you want is once you've filed it like that, dust it off, wipe it, and just apply another coat of gel. Real smooth, and you won't even have to file it. I'll show you. My little brush. I love this brush. This was the free gift in my Maniology nail art box. I like to do nail art stamping. It's fun stuff. I am going to add one more thin layer to this nail, just for strength purposes. I'm a little worried about those edges. Got a little bit of gel right here on my skin. Usually I would use a nail tool to do that. I don't know why I just did it like that. You should use a nail tool to do it. You shouldn't use your skin. Let's pop it in and cure it. I would say I'm sorry if I really meant it. Apologize. I would say I'm sorry if I really meant it. I'm not perfect off the bat. That's not what it is this time. Silence. 60 seconds of silence. That's very pretty looking. Alright, I'm gonna get a new piece of paper towel. This one's dead. It looks like I'm throwing stuff under my desk. I promise I'm not. Sometimes I do though. Sometimes when I get really, really into what I'm doing, I throw stuff on the floor. It drives my husband crazy. Crazier than he already is. I mean, he did marry me. And anybody who knows me will tell you I'm a little bit of a nut. A little bit. Not the mean kind. Just, I'm a little crazy. In the clinical sense. Now, a little trick, a little tip, a little bit of knowledge about builder gel. You don't have to have a top coat. It's already shiny. You could leave it just like that. I personally prefer a top coat. So I'm going to buff this. It's already shaped. I'm just buffing the top to put the top coat on the matte surface. I find that it has the best adhesion that way. There we go. I just got hit with a wave of pain. All right, top coat. Looks good. Okay, we have about 10 minutes left before I need to go to lunch. We've done 2 whole nails. Um, I'm hoping I'll get this hand done today so that I can do some art on it, but it takes however long it takes. We'll see. I'm working on it. Give me some grace. When I come to pages, I like numbers. All right, all done. 2 nails, all done. It looks a lot better than my nails, right? And I like the sheer pink. It gives it quite a natural look. All right. I hope you liked hanging out with me this morning. I might do a couple more of these nails off camera during lunch just to move it forward so we can get to the art part. I will try to come back this afternoon. I can't promise. I can't promise, because if I promise and then I don't come back, well, that's not good. I just broke a promise. But yeah, thanks for hanging out with me. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. This has been Periwinkle Palace Arts. I'm Princess Bun Bun. We did art here today, even though this doesn't seem like art. It is art. Have a good day.